Our speaker envisions and commits to lead his company to thrive in the uncertain world by strengthening E&P core value foundations to become resilient organizations while being responsible to the climate change agenda. He advocates carbon capture storage initiative as he strongly believes in upstream capabilities that can materialize CCS project and be a part to make the world a better place for future generations. Our speaker holds bachelor degrees in physics from Chiang Mai University and a master degrees in exploration geophysics from the University of New South Wales, Australia, prior to commence his career as geophysicist in PTTEP. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me for a very warm welcome on the stage, the SPE Thailand keynote speakers, to embark on our series of monthly technical meeting program for season 2022/2023. Now may I invite Khun Montri Rawanchaikul, CEO PTTEP.
Thank you. I think before I address all the distinguished guests and all our ladies and gentlemen who joined the program tonight, I have to thank the director of the SPE. You make it hard for me to come up here to give any keynote speech, his introduction and so on. And the MC that make the hall so lively tonight. So I really enjoy it. But first of all, good evening, Dr. Songpop Polachan, Khun Puangtip Silapasat, Dr. Kulachit Nakontap. Oh, what an amazing night. We have 3 former Director Generals in the room. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. Distinguished guests, students, my dear colleagues, I think we will enjoy tonight after the 2 years of this lockdown, pandemic, and so on. Last time we were here, we were having this buffet line and small corners of the table. We still keep the distance. Tonight, we don't have to keep a distance. And thanks to all the 37 sponsors on the screen. But special thanks to PTTEP, because I can say that. Because, we make tonight happen that we don't have to join the buffet line, right? So SPE, Khun Rono suggests that, PTTEP may be able to do something special. So again, we're here today talking about the future of Thailand Upstream. You may ask me, what a joke, what a topic you talk about, the future of Thailand Upstream. We've been in the industry of the upstream in Thailand for 50 years, but, a dream is a dream. And we cannot stop there because I take you through all the agenda items that I'd like to show you. The world is suffer with this global gas crisis. 40 years back, we have this oil shock. Who would ever thought today we are here having this gas shock? And this gas shock is even more severe. I just came back from the conference in London where the sea levels meet, the Energy Intelligence Forum. All the sea levels share that in Europe and particularly in the US, this coming winter is mild. Next winter is where we're going to be suffering because winter next year will be a lot colder than this year. And the energy crisis prolongs and also in Thailand. But if I start by showing you this, you would laugh. You would giggle. You would say, we all know that. Thailand is the importing country. What are you talking about? Why am I standing here and talk about the importing countries, energy importing? We've been in this situation, and whoever thought 100 years ago when James Watt came up with his 1.0, the Industrial Revolution, the steam engine, burning coal and make things move. 100 years later, we suffer with the energy crisis. And Thailand saying that we've been in importing countries of the energy, and what's the message? the message that I like to deliver today is we are facing much tougher challenge. The challenge we have in the past 40, 50 years, we actually took Thailand came out from the poverty, become Thailand today because of the discovery of the energy in the Gulf of Thailand, because of the revolution of Eastern Seaboard. And we took the gas, we took the petrochemical industry, foreign investors, and we are here today happily enjoying our life, enjoy our well-being. But today, we're looking at the energy crisis. But before I take it to that, I think they gave me 40 minutes with 2 questions at the end. So, you don't have to actually, look at me all the time. You can have your drink, you can have your food, and I'm just going to continue talking. Let's look at this. That's the history. I'm so proud of this history because when we announced, the first gas discovery in Thailand, I was a small kid. That was about almost 50 years ago. And all our former Director General who involved with the Industrial Revolution, the change that we see in Thailand over the past 50 years, know it well. We came up from the country that have a very low demand and it keep going up with the GDP and the industry that growing. And you see the history of that we have been importing from a very beginning. We have the energy that coming from different sectors, but the key thing is the gas. Gas has grown up from what we discovered in Thailand, and you look at the curve in the last few years, it's slowing down, but you look at the gas, domestic gas, it's getting smaller. And you see the dark blue on the top, importing natural gas. And we are now, when the world is in the crisis, we don't have our indigenous gas sufficiently to supply the Thai economy. We need to import more gas. So that's the history. But we are so proud of the history, looking at this, the GDP on the vertical axis on your right-hand side, and the gas demand that keep creeping from the day that we start. And the gas separating plants, the industry we grow, everything goes so well in the last 50 years. You see the demand or the consumption drop in the last few years because of this pandemic. This perfect storm. The pandemic, the lower demand, lower supply in the Gulf of Thailand, the gas crisis. 2 years ago, we had price war on oil, and today we have gas crisis. So where would we go from now? We are here today. I'm in a position that I can tell you, I'm so proud of this. When I talk to my top management, the board of directors, and say, we like to change the strategy of PTTEP, the strategy of the company. The strategy in the past, we say, returning the share values to our investors and so on. But today, our strategy is well written that we would like to ensure energy supply to Thailand. So that's become, our clear mission. PTTEP estimates 37 years ago, the mission was, to supply national security to Thailand. And today, it's even more pronounced. It's a time that we can say in public space because we have demand and we are all in crisis. So the history, what I like to show, and I did talk about, is how we grew up, in terms of economic, in terms of the growth of the country, in terms of, more importantly, we talk about, 50 years ago, people don't live in this environment. We were in kind of poverty, and the poverty, the whole industry changed. So now, we have all the industry. We have car manufacture, we have petrochemical, we have everything that we can think of. It may not be perfect, but we are happy. With the young generation to stay on and to say, we start to see this crisis. To talk about crisis, everyone now seen this. It came out from Jaron Reisdag came about a year ago. He talked about 3 corners. And I think everyone is talking about this around the world. All the top leaders, that I talk to saying, how can we find secure, affordable, sustainable energy? Listen to it carefully. Secure, affordable, sustainable. Last decade, no one cares about crisis. Everyone talk about global climate change. We talk about the stop using natural fuel, fossil fuels. In Europe, you start seeing all the activists say, how dare you that you've been using fossil fuel the last 100 years. You don't look after the world. You don't look after our new generation, next generation. That was a topic in the last decade. Beginning of this decade, people saying, how can we survive with this unaffordable energy? I show you later on the price of the LNG and how scary it is. So today, what we're looking at is the three corners: secure, affordable, sustainable energy. Where we are on the crude oil, natural gas. Thailand is slowing down on burning coals. But in Europe, you wouldn't think, a year ago they talked about climate change, COP27, and so on. And now coming to COP26 last year, COP27 this year, would be very interesting to hear what they come up with. But COP26 last year, everyone came up on the podium and promised the net zero by 2050, 2065, 2070, and so on. And that was only a few months before the invasion, before they know that they will be losing their destiny of the gas supply. So things change. Today, people going back in Europe, burning coals, all the nuclear reactors start running again. So we're going backwards. But what I'm saying today is, in the future, we cannot walk away from these three corners. We need to think about affordable, secure, sustainable energy. And Thailand is in a very big challenge. So when we move on with that, let's look at this. It's really hurt to see this. It hurt every one of us. It hurt PTTEP as a producer. It hurts all of us in this room. You see the lower graph, lower line, the line in light blue, showing the gas price that we produce in the Gulf of Thailand and neighboring countries as a gas pool. When we pull the gas in, that's the gas price. The green line, which is the dot that's going up exponentially, is the LNG price. So when you mix that two together, let me correct that. The blue line on the top is the LNG. Blue line is an LNG with the spot, with the crisis that happened since 24th of February. It actually happened on the 1st of March when the gas was cut off. LNG goes skyrocket. At one time, LNG went to $80 per MMBTU, while the Gulf of Thailand gas on the average is 7 to 8 MMBTU dollars. So when you mix the two, you see the green line in the middle, which is the pool gas that we mix the LNG and the indigenous gas, including the gas from a neighboring country. I won't give a name, but I think you all know what I'm talking about, because detail is there. You see the fuel that we produce. Everyone, when we took over from Chevron, we have to sustain it. So at the moment, we produce about 200 million scf a day. We have a plan to ramp it up, but it will take 2 years. We couldn't get into the area for 2 years, so it will take 2 years. But all of our contractors are happily working with us. The wellhead construction, the drilling, and so on. And you wouldn't believe, after 40 years in the industry, PTTEP came up from the day that we didn't know much about this industry. We learned from the investor, we joint venture and so on. But today, we are operating 10 drilling rigs in the Gulf of Thailand. One more rig coming for the Gulf of Thailand. So 11 drilling rigs is a history. It's never happened before. 11 drilling rigs in the Gulf of Thailand, plus 3 drilling rigs onshore, plus 1 in a neighboring country, 2 in the south. So altogether, we have 15 drilling rigs. I recall one time, one of our friends, our colleague came and said, look, this is a good industry. Why don't PTTEP thinking about going into this service provider, do a rig themselves, do all the service themselves? My answer to that, I said, look, we are happy in this ecosystem. We have all of us sitting here come from different parts of the sectors. We're happy with that. We stay on to be a producer. We like to keep our contractors, our friends working together because we like to keep this ecosystem. Things will change, but today we need gas. The gas from the Gulf of Thailand and also from the neighboring country, from the two fields, from Yalana and Sautika. If you look at it, Thailand today demand about 4.4 BCF a day. And where it's go to? It's go to gas-fired power plant, electricities. It go to the industry, go to petrochemical. 4.4 BCF a day. Big number. 4.4 BCF a day could come up in one of the big gas fields in the Middle East. But we are not in the Middle East, unfortunately. We are in Thailand with all this compartmentalization of the structures of the reservoir that we produce. We collectively, today we do something like 2.7. And the 2.7, 16% come from the Western gas, where we could not lose it. So our dear friends try to keep the pressure on us and say, stop doing the business there. I can say it loudly, I will not stop. I don't want to see Bangkok and whole Thailand black out, including their embassy. The embassy will be black out. So if you have your friends in the embassy, delay the message. We will not stop producing gas from that. I'm not challenging them because I know it's coming. But look, we are friends to every country. We never be hostile to anyone. So we are not doing business just for our business. We're doing a national security supply for the whole country of Thailand. That's the gas. So the gas in Thailand now, we produce from the Gulf of Thailand, we have about 2.7, 2.8 all combined. Some of them coming from the south, from the MTJDA, the Joint Development Area in Thai, Malaysia. About 30 million scf coming from what PTTEP operate, and coming from the west and the Gulf of Thailand. So we short of gas. It's about 1.2 BCF of gas short. And you see the graph of the blue curve. Every time I look at it, I feel bad. I feel really hurt that the gas LNG price. A few years ago, people predict that LNG will be oversupplied by 2024. I don't see it today. And we'll carry on because investment in the LNG facilities, the new LNG, cannot keep up with the growth of the demand. So we will see that we'll be in this crisis for the next few years. So coming back to this, that's one challenge, talk about the security. On the other hand, the announcement made, Thailand become net zero by 2065. The announcement made by looking at the roadmap. The roadmap is saying about 40% of our midterm goal will be on the energy transport. If we change all the transportation to, say, EV, reduce the emission of the carbon from what we use as a natural fuel, then we'll be able to save or reduce the carbon emission. Going to 2050, when Thailand announced the carbon neutrality, we also have to keep knocking down the energy and transport, 63%. And then when it go to net zero by 2065, all included of the greenhouse gas, methane, carbon dioxide, everything. But let me ask you, while you're enjoying your food and think about it, saying 2050, carbon neutrality, changing all the cars that if you can imagine in Thailand, all kind of cars, taxi, personal cars, public transport, trains, whatever. Even going to, marine sectors or the vessel, everything going to EV or marine sector, IMO saying, stop using the fossil fuel, go to, green methanol and so on. But when you come and look at onshore, where we live, life that we live, EV, where the energy comes from. Can we replace all the gas by 2050 with any kind of the new energy, renewables, any kind of the new energy transition, hydrogen? With all the infrastructure we have, the pipeline in Thailand, we have about 4,000 plus kilometers. Everything rely on gas. So gas will be the key to give the answer of our next chapter of E&P in Thailand. We need gas, but I'm not saying gas will last forever. My friends in Malaysia are saying gas business is a long runway, very long runway. For me, I talk to my management, I say gas business is a long sunset. We don't know when the sun will set, but one day it will set, but it will be very long. So we need to keep our position in gas production, because gas is the key to the economy of Thailand. Today we import a lot of gas, as you see. In the future, every BTU of gas will be meaningful. So I go on to that. But let's think about, moving on to EV. And I like to see everyone using EV. Go home and charge your car. Next day you come and work. You don't have to worry about going to the gas station, fill up the pump. But think about all EVs coming from gas. And as I said before, I like to see this ecosystem. I like to see that everyone enjoying our work. PTTEP will carry on to produce gas, looking for new gas. I think for the next 5 years, we probably drill, but on the average, about 1,000 wells a year to keep the gas flowing. So that's what we're doing in the Gulf of Thailand, onshore, S1, where we're producing crude oil. We also have the associated gas. That's meaningful. We like to keep the gas going. But the challenge is there. The challenge is our Prime Minister announced 2065. The government, the announcement was made with the information to support, not just going out and say 2065. PTTEP, we challenge ourselves. We say if we're going for gas, we like to see it a lot faster. So we target for 2050. And 2050 is we talk about, we like to bring our balance of the natural gas from where we are in the sense of affordable, sustainable, secure, into somewhere in the middle. So to do that, that will give you a thought. Inevitably, we have to think about the future of our industry. So future of Thailand Upstream will be in every BTU counts. That's number one. Every BTU matters. So every single corner of the gas. Today, PTTEP is thinking about, I can share with you, we have one field, we have different pockets of gas. If you wait for develop producing the big pocket first, the small pocket will be left behind. So some small pockets have a negative NPV. We said do it because we need gas. We combine, we look at overall project. So every BTU of gas matters to Thailand future E&P. So that means into the neighboring country. I talk about the country in the west. I dare not to touch the country to the east, but I would leave it to the government to think about this is the time to do it. Because every BTU matters. And I think ecosystem like this would be very happy to see activities going up on the east rather than the west and the south. So I leave it like that. But that is what we like to do, and PTTEP will be a spearhead of that. We will continue to drill, we will continue to produce gas, but on the two corners that we think about, gas has to be cleaner. Gas has to be, big words when I said it 2 years ago, decarbonizations. I still remember that Dr. Kurachit warned me a couple of years ago, we had the conversation. He said, Montri, don't be too crazy about decarbonization because we're producing oil and gas. And I said, he's absolutely right. We're producing fossil fuel to do it. But the demand of the environment, demand of this world, talking about cleaner gas, we will have to move on to the next chapter. Continue producing gas, but think about carbon capture storage. We have started thinking, I show you the example, we have started thinking about putting a pilot project in our carbon capture storage into our producing gas field, in Arctic gas field. We like to do it, we like to say it's a pilot, and we believe that in the northern part of the Gulf of Thailand, we do have potential, not only to help PTTEP, the industry, but the whole country. But then people's talking about carbon solution, PTTEP also thinking about it. Carbon solution can become a new business, can become a part of anything beyond E&P. But still using the knowledge of E&P we have to create CCS hub, to think about direct air capture, to think about blue carbon, when we think about capture the carbon from the environment. So this is the strategy we come up with PTTEP, and I like to drive it to be a strategy of the country. Continue producing gas, but gas has to be cleaner. And when I say gas has to be cleaner and cheaper, the cheaper I can say it, with a quieter word, because gas can be more expensive to produce, but we try to balance it. So look at this. This is what we're going to live at in the next 40 years. The graph showing from today to about 2040s, but I believe up to about 2060, we are still seeing the demand of gas. You see new supply need for Thailand demand. Huge. So we will rely on LNG import. We will have a lower indigenous gas in the Gulf of Thailand, neighboring countries, and so on. So again, I don't want to repeat it, but I just say, if anything we can do for any BTU of gas, we should do it now. So times to start activities of any gas left behind. Then these will be matters that we will talk amongst PTTEP and our PTTEP and our groups in the flagships, saying that we need to think about every BTU matters. So Thailand and neighboring country, most important. During biotechnology, we working with all the contractors. We like to see the technologies that can improve the cost, can optimize it. We will think about improved recovery. Gas can be a bit tougher of the improved recovery, but yes, we are still thinking about a deep cut. We would like to lower our CO2 to something that's much lower than the specification, and then we capture the CO2 and store it. So we need to improve our domestic production. We like to have this resiliency of the asset to the volatile oil price, meaning PTTEP will shift toward gas, and we like to unlock the marginal resources, as I talked before. Unit cost competitiveness within PTTEP, I can say we start this program since 2014. So today it's become our DNA. Every employee have a DNA saying, before we do anything, we think about the concept of spend smart. So we think about the investment that have the return to keep our unit cost low in order to produce the gas in the affordable price. So my message here is doing gas business is the key, but the gas have to be decarbonized. So the decarbonization, we are start promoting the CCS and zero flaring. We're going to maximize renewable in our operation. Next year, if you come back to visit us in S1 in Pisarolo, you see 100 right of solar farm. So we install solar farm, reducing the gas into the turbine, and we can make use of the gas. And then leakage prevention and greenhouse gas emission, that's also the target. So we have a clear strategy to move the company, but the clear message to the industry in Thailand saying we need an ecosystem to go on with gas production. PTTEP has announced the net zero target 2050. We start with the CCS project in Arctic Field offshore, and we like to reduce the emission from the upstream. So this picture showing you, if you look at the northern part of the Gulf of Thailand, northern part, it's close to all the industry in Maptaput, in Rayong, and so on, where they emit a lot of CO2. So move on to the next slide, this one. If you're not familiar with, let me spend a little bit of time to talk to you on the left-hand side of the slide. The project in North Sea called Northern Lights. They do have two projects sitting next to each other. Northern Lights is the one that collects all the CO2 and store it. Not for free, of course. They charge it because they have carbon credit, carbon tax, and so on. There's another project called Longship. The industry that produces CO2 have to capture CO2, convert it to minus 26 degrees, convert it to liquid, and transport by ship to give it to Northern Lights. Northern Lights receive the minus 26 degree liquid CO2, put it in the ground, store it. So everything has become commercial now. I said that, we can all dream together that the northern part of Thailand in the future, going to net zero of the whole country target, we need to think about take CO2 from the industry in Rayong, in Maptaput, to store it. And I think we believe, we have seen preliminary information. We believe that we do have a reservoir, the slide, the layers that can store CO2 probably about 1.2 kilometers below the seafloor. But you know what the problem is? The problem is we don't have detailed information. We don't have the way that we can actually confirm it and make it move forward, because this project, I tell you, there's going to be massive capital investment. There'll be 3 billions, 4 billions, because the pipeline, the drill pipes, the wellheads, the storage, everything. But even think about going do a seismic survey in that area to confirm the structure. We don't have permission. No one has permission. The regulation doesn't support us. So we're saying, can we have, say a provisional license to go in and survey in that area? We don't mind to pay upfront and do the survey just to confirm that we can have a CCS, because it has to go together. Gas production, carbon storage. So, you continue producing gas, as I said, that's the future of E&P in Thailand. We go for gas, every BTU matters, but BTUs can come with a high CO2. So we need to think about put CO2 back in the ground. But I would not stop. My team working very closely with with PTTEP, put it this way. Think about the regulation, how can we steer it, how can we make it happen? So Thailand will not be able to survive without the concept of carbon capture storage for the future of E&P. Future E&P, we drill wells, we lay out the pipelines, we producing gas, but then we keep carbon underground. So that's the key message that I like to deliver. I like to see that project happen probably 10, 15 years, 20 years after my retirement. I can come back and sit there and listen to the young generation saying, no, we already make it happen. So it all is in your hand, young generation, the students. This is the future of the country. Continue producing gas, making it less rely on importing gas. You see the curve, you see LNG, we cannot control. So the more domestic gas for the neighboring country we can produce, the better. So I like to end the message by showing you the dream of this Longship project saying that we have offshore sources from our producing field from the left. We have the sink where we can actually inject CO2 into the underground. We have onshore, that we have the collecting terminal, onshore sources from whatever, the pipeline from the gas power plant industry. They do a minus 26 degree of the CO2 converted to liquid and transport it to us, and then we can store it. And storing a CO2 is not toxic. CO2 is the gas that we breathe out. But we just have to monitor it, that how the gas behave over the period of years. So you need 4D seismic, you need to monitor how the gas dissolves in the water and how it moves. It's not toxic. If it leaks, it becomes soda water. So we don't want to see our ocean become a soda water, and the marine life and so on. So future carbon solution is the last thing that I'd like to touch on. Not only on the CCS, we all have to be liable into carbon. So PTTEP is thinking big on this reforestation. We're thinking big on blue carbon. We like to do the investment into direct air capture on top of the gas producing and the CCS that we're doing. So that is the beginning. So we are now doing E&P. We like to drive the E&P value. We like to do decarbonization, and we also diversify. So all friends in this room, we're happy to be in the E&P and help us to think about decarbonization. The future on diversification will go on beyond this room, talking about direct air capture, talking about any kind of the energy form in the future. But gas is the business with a very long sunset. To me, I'm thinking that by 2050, if we all still here, we come back to this room, we still use the gas. So the gas has to be cleaner. PTTEP would like to leave with the last slide when I say thank you.